My name is Jordan Parker, and this is my third assignment for anatomy. Arteries. Arteries have three main layers, and they are the tunica intima, the tunica media, and the tunica externa. The tunica intima is the innermost layer, and this is made up of elastic membrane surrounded by a smooth endothelium. The tunica media is the middle layer, and that is made up of smooth muscle and elastic fibers. The tunica externa is the outer layer. This is made up of strong, fibrous connective tissue. This helps to prevent rupturing. The functions of the arteries is that it will carry the oxygenated blood away from the heart. The only exception is the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs to become oxygenated. Arterioles. The structure of the arterioles are that they are a smaller version of an artery. They also lead off into the capillaries. These blood vessels are also under the control of the sympathetic nervous system. This is also to allow dilation and constriction to regulate the blood flow. The functions of the arterioles are that they are to transport the blood from the arteries to the capillaries. Arterioles are also the main regulator of blood flow. They are also a main regulator of vascular shunting as well. This is to allow them to move the blood away from some organs and take them to the working muscles during exercise. Capillaries. Capillaries are extremely small and extremely narrow. They are approximately 5 to 20 micrometers. There are capillaries within most of the organs, muscles, and tissues in the body. The capillary walls are only 1 cell thick, and they branch off into a capillary network. The functions of the capillaries are that they supply nutrients such as oxygen to the surrounding tissue. The network of capillaries surround organs, muscles, and the alveoli in the lungs. By surrounding the alveoli, it will allow a faster process for gaseous exchange because it has a larger surface area. Venules. Venules are small blood vessels that drain blood from capillaries and then into the veins. Many venules come together to form a vein. That is why venules are just a smaller version of the vein. The function of the venule is to drain the capillaries of blood so that it can go into the veins and then back to the heart. Veins. The walls of a vein will consist of 3 layers of tissue that are thinner and less elastic than the corresponding layers of an artery. Veins include valves that help in returning blood back to the heart and preventing blood from flowing back in the wrong direction. The function of a vein are to transport the deoxygenated blood back to the heart so that it can be reoxygenated and sent back around the body. How the blood gets around the body. I will be describing how a blood cell will get around the body. I will be starting in the right atrium and how it gets to the bicep and then how it gets back. So if we're beginning at the right atrium. So from the right atrium, the red blood cell will travel through the tricuspid valve and into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, it will get pumped to the lungs. So to get to the lungs, it will have to go through the pulmonary valve. And once it's through that valve, it will travel through the pulmonary artery. From there, it will go through arterioles and then capillaries, which surround the alveoli in the lungs. This will collect oxygen through gaseous exchange. Once it has collected its oxygen, it will then travel back to the heart through then a venule, and then the pulmonary vein, and then into the left atrium. From the left atrium, it will then have to go through the mitral valve to get into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, the blood will get pumped around the body. To get around the body, it will have to go through the aortic valve and then into the aorta. From the aorta, it will then go through arterioles and then capillaries and into the biceps, and then gaseous exchange will occur again. It will be giving oxygen to the muscles and taking away waste products such as carbon dioxide. From there, it will go into venules and then into the subclavian vein. From there, into the superior vena cava and back into the right atrium. Oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the muscles through the bloodstream. This is done by the heart pumping the blood constantly around the body. First it goes to the heart to get the oxygen, then it goes back to the heart and then pumped around to where the nutrients are needed. The nutrients are exchanged via gaseous exchange. This is because capillaries are only one cell thick, so it allows an easy process of gases to pass through. Removal of waste products. Carbon dioxide is an example of a waste product. It is done in a similar way to delivery of oxygen, but in reverse. Once that oxygen has been delivered to the muscles or organs, carbon dioxide is a waste product and will come out of the muscles or organs at the same time that oxygen goes in, also done through gaseous exchange. Once the carbon dioxide is in the bloodstream, it will then be taken back to the heart and then pumped to the lungs to be removed in breathing. Thermoregulation. Thermoregulation is the role of vasodilation and vasoconstriction in the blood vessels. Vasodilation is the increase of the diameter of the blood vessels. This is caused by a relaxation of the smooth muscles surrounding the blood vessel. This will then increase the amount of blood flow travelling through the blood vessels, and then it will instantly get more oxygen to the working muscles. This mainly occurs when we're exercising due to a high demand of oxygen to the working muscles. Therefore, the higher amount of blood we get to the working muscles to give the oxygen. Vasoconstriction is the decrease in the diameter of the blood vessel. This is caused by constriction of the smooth muscle around the blood vessel. It reduces the amount of blood flow going through the blood vessel, therefore the amount of oxygen that gets to that part of the body. This also occurs during exercise, but not to a working muscle, to an organ, e.g. the stomach or the intestines, because we don't need as much oxygen there as we do at our working muscles. Therefore, we don't need as much blood travelling to that part of the body. Functions of the blood. There are three main functions to the blood: oxygen transport, clotting, fighting infection. Oxygen transport is to allow us to do our daily activities. Our working muscles and organs need oxygen to function properly, and our blood will deliver the oxygen to where it is needed. Clotting is an important function of the blood because this will help to prevent loss of blood when you become injured, such as a cut. In the blood there is platelets and proteins in your plasma which work together to form a clot over the injury, and over time your body will dissolve the blood clot after it has become healed. Fighting infection is also another important function to the blood. This is done through white blood cells. There is only about 1% of white blood cells in your blood, and they are stored in your bone marrow, and the bone marrow must constantly make new white blood cells to maintain this protection against infections. Lobes. The lobes are split up into different sections. These sections are found in the lungs, and they all collect air from the secondary bronchus. There are 5 different sections, the left lung having 2 and the right having 3. Within each of these lobes, it can be separated again into different sections. The right lung has 10 different sections within 3 lobes, and the left has 8 different sections within the 2 lobes. Each of these are separated by connective tissue. This means that if one lobe becomes infected, then the others don't become infected because of that. And the infected lobe can then be removed so you can live healthily. Pleural membrane. Each lung has separate layers of membrane. The visceral pleura surrounds the lungs to help separate the lobes. Outside that layer, there is the pleural fluid. This is to reduce friction and heat production so that lungs don't become damaged. Surrounding the pleural fluid is the parietal pleura. This also helps to reduce friction and heat production. As we don't need 2 of these, therefore, if one lung collapses, then we can continue to use the other because the one that hasn't collapsed will stay airtight.